Hello, family. It's been a while. I I haven't been coming on very much because what I see in the media, politically and globally, and especially here where we live in the United States, is just a whole lot of fluff and redirection and distraction from what's really going on in the world. And what I'm talking about is, you know, we're seeing an ending of a world order in America and across the planet that has been in place for a very, very long time. And the basis of it has always been darkness, evil, greed for money, greed for power, and what we are seeing, what we are now living in, is the midst of an ending of an era in America that is pulled the covers off of, you know, the darkness and the people that play along in the darkness, that do the bidding of the enemy. You call them the enemy, the devil, the dark prince, or whatever. But and like in the Bible, it talks about principalities and people in high places, wickedness in high places, and all things come to an end, especially if it is not in sync with the Creator and His plan. I should say His or her plan, God's plan. I'll keep it simple, you know. And so what we are now witnessing is an ending of, well, you might as well say, for the rich and the powerful and a lot of the people that have benefited from, the legacy of slavery or just, evil. They're coming to an end, and it's kind of unbelievable because we are living in the midst of it, and there are so many of us that are, we are suffering from fear, confusion, and uncertainty. But one thing that I know is with the faith, faith is the foundation of all reality. You know what I'm saying? For me, spirituality is having a relationship with reality. And throughout all of the stories I've ever read about, heard about, or witnessed, that you know, good always comes out on top. It may take a long time. It may take a lot of time, but darkness cannot uh, dominate the light for very long. And I just want to say that for every ending, there is a new beginning. Okay. Um, a lot of people feel that the ending of something is so scary and detrimental. You know what I'm saying? But some things must die in order for life to live. To transcend onto a higher level. And we are witnessing right now an ending to dark politics. They're being revealed, and what we're seeing is desperation. When if we're talking about politics, we're seeing a desperate attempt to confuse and to redirect our attention towards everything, as far as Venezuela, as far as the Epstein files, what's going on over in the motherland of Africa, Europeans and America trying to strong arm their way back over there. But let me tell you this right here. Bring it on back home. We just have to stand tall and we have to stand together. See, most of us did not go for the okie doke. Most of us did not allow ourselves to be tricked into thinking that the rich and the powerful has the last word on everything. There is a God. See, we can get so caught up in pain and the scary, scenarios and the optics that they put on TV, on the news. The media plays along also. I did a video a while back, that the media is another type of tool for the enemy. And for a long time, they allowed this whole fake news movement to gain momentum, whereas it gave them a chance to hide behind fake news and also broadcast fake news. Some try to tell the truth. Most of them, they do whatever that's going to keep the ratings going up. But I want to say this right here. We're hearing about Donald Trump also. He's talking about a third term. I heard him talking to his people. One thing for sure, and two things for certain. Donald Trump don't want a third term. He really don't. He's just keeping them, keeping his minions, feeding them that BS. You know what I'm saying? Because the reason why I say he really don't want it, because if he has that opportunity to run for a third term, his nemesis, the one that he cannot stand, would also be given that same opportunity. And we would make sure, just like we fought for everything else, we would fight for Barack to get into that race. And I don't think that Donald Trump could survive, not even, just the thought of him going up against Barack. Him and all of his minions, and they could use the whole administration. They would need that just to just stand a somewhat fight with Barack. Because just the thought of that there would give that man a brain aneurysm, a heart attack, and a stroke all at the same time. Because now you are talking about the one president that didn't get caught up in a whole lot of these scandals that go on. These sex scandals and robbing Peter to pay Paul and all that kind of stuff. The one president, and he's not no angel now. I'm going to put that out there too. I mean, Barack did some things I'm very, very, totally, not in a good space with him. But that's another story, But I want to tell you, we hang in here and we continue to fight as we've been fighting on every issue, pushing back on every issue. We will win. We will definitely win, I'm going to tell you like this right here. From the very beginning, they're talking about Epstein. If it wasn't for Epstein, Donald Trump would not have made it as a president. People wonder, well, when we look back on the first campaign and there was 17 Republicans running for president, and then all of a sudden, within a matter of weeks, they started dropping off. It was because Epstein had fed Trump the scoop on all of them, bandits, wearing shirts and ties and suits and ties, what I'm saying, up into politics and everything, doing some really, really raunchy stuff in the background. Epstein had all of that, and he even had it on Donald. And that's why Epstein had to go, because he had too much information. And information is power. You understand? And so, I'm a believer that Epstein might have been given a pass as long as he don't let his head rise up again. That's just my thoughts, right? Some people believe that he just mysteriously died and there was no funeral. There was no talk about a funeral. He just dead, right? They don't do things like that there. They always broadcast that kind of stuff. But anyway, I'm going to stay tuned and you stay tuned. But remember, the ending is only the beginning of something better. Keep your head up, Keep God first. Peace.